Hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex. Welcome to Royal Sussex Sunday Live. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to Royal Sussex, Bright Eyes, Veronica, Lydia, Sherry. Let me see who else. Jennifer, Joan Garcia, Lottie G, Norma, Rick, Sarah, Tash, Helene. Welcome. Um, thank you all for being here. I've been practicing right along with the Duke of Sussex. And let's see. Legans, welcome. Bonnie Mighty, Fancy Fancy. Janet Lavalley. Church Nelly. Okay, welcome, welcome. I don't see the sheriff, but she'll be along. Okay, welcome one and all to Royal Sussex Sunday Live. So, was that an epic? Was that not an epic Sussex Squad podcast? I was just like, wow. And what I loved about it is it gave me more time to do stuff that I needed to do. And I'm pretty sure that there's some points that you guys would like to continue, which is perfectly fine because everything was just so intense that um maybe you something to come up you just thought of or something like that, and I'm here for it. So other than that, there was what I had planned. We're going to briefly touch on Dark Spectre because I think that it was um it was very much a topic of conversation, it seemed like, through a great deal of the podcast, especially toward the end. And I don't know if you guys are in any way like myself, but one of the things, one of the things that I love so much is when I hear Michelle like do that voice. Yes, because I can't even. Let me see. But anyway, I love when she does that. When Michelle, just because this institution has been around for 1,000 years, is it wrong that that is like one of my favorite things about the Sussex Squad podcast? I mean, there's so many things that you could say is very relevant and important, and but that one right there slays me every time. It's like I wait for it. And okay, okay, okay. I'm sorry to say this, but the other is when Tina says, "Have you lost your mind?" And then she drop a few f bombs. It's like I couldn't do that with any great authority because I really don't swear that much. But I feel like on occasion, Tina has given me a master class on how to set the record straight, if you will. So between those two things, and I'm just going to say that those are just like such a small part of an incredibly informative, thought provoking, very enriching podcast broadcast. So, but yeah, and it just goes to show the caliber of person I am and my character. That with all of that tremendous information that was available, the thing that really draws me in is just because they've been around for 1,000 years. I'm sorry, I wait for it. I wait for it. Yes, I know that is very shallow of me, but I can't help myself. I wait for it. So Cookies and Cream wants to say hello to a bunch of people. So I'm gonna help Cookies and Creams out. There you can see Church Nellie, Annie, Helene, Carolyn. There's someone who wants to say hi to you. And let's see, Black Cougar says Tina Michelle don't hold back when that is afoot. Absolutely. So so I would say, aside from all of the great information, hey, Sherry Ware, aside from all of that, the two things that I wait for is for Michelle to do that thing. And of course, Tina to drop a couple of F bombs or something like that. I kind of wait for it because I kind of feel like she's saying what everyone else is thinking and maybe too polite to say. So, cheers and thank you for that, Tina, and thank you, Michelle. So, with that, let's get into it. Okay, trigger warning. Where is she at? Okay, let me take this away. Okay, there we have it. So, that did come out yesterday. And in spite of the fact that they spent a great deal of time on it, I I want to say this much about it. And I was listening toward the end, and the other host, I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but she said there's a lot of people who don't have a firm understanding of the connection between Sammy and I guess the trolls like Yankee Wally and all those people, and of course with the press, because I don't follow the Twitter as intensely as most, and even with that, I I have a Twitter account now, but I had one for quite some time and I just never used it. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, you may notice that I only just started using that. I'm good at doing one thing at a time, and trying to have all these connections over various forms of social media would be exhausting for me, as well as the fact that I would probably make a lot of mistakes. So, as I've mentioned before, it is very difficult for me to follow the threads on the Twitter. I'm better at it now. People inbox me or DM me, and I'm not sure whether or not it's the DM or if it's, you know what I mean? I pretty much got it figured out now, but following those threads has always been a problem for me. And so, also, in order to save myself from embarrassment or even worse, saying something that I can't pull back, I tend to mostly depend upon the occasional odd meme here and there, as opposed to, absolutely just throwing out um, a lot of, I guess, stinging or critical remarks, because it is very hard to pull that back. And while I may not be running for public office anytime soon, still there's certain things that I, I like to, just try to keep a handle on as much as possible, because once you put it out there, you really can't take it back. So and Twitter, I've had some trolls come after me on Twitter, mostly because of some of the little parodies I have created, or memes, if you will. So I've had that happen, especially when I had the one about, the Danish media compared to the British media. That seemed to have struck a chord. That got like over 1,000 likes and shares, which was a lot for me because, again, I don't really have that kind of presence on Twitter. So let me see. Well, anyway, yeah, I hear you, Annie, but let me finish my point here. So with this, I don't have a firm understanding of everything to do with the connections between those people, and I would be pretending to say that I have some kind of understanding of that, because I really don't. I mean, I get the gist of it, but there were some tweets that were used in the story that I had never seen before, and that's the thing. like the other host was saying, or the guest on Tina Michelle, there's a lot of us who have never seen that, and some of y'all have never been on Twitter or may have had a Twitter and no longer have it. So I thought this story was interesting, but as they said, it's nothing that most of us don't know already. Even if you're not on Twitter, you do have a certain limited understanding of exactly how the tabloid media and Sammy and company have been in cahoots with one another. And of course, enter the Jason Knopf, who enjoys putting her on the show, which, as you can see here, apologies, and as you can see, everybody understands that she's a trigger. Apologies for putting this on whatever your TL eyesight, but Samantha is truly vile and a child of the devil himself, as Dan Wooten. Um, okay, Dan Wootnot, as they say. I hope he gets it one day too. She's questioning if children exist, which is painful, which is very painful to hear. And as you can see at the bottom there, just like the weird conspiracy theorists and truth tellers that follow her, nothing but an unwell, unhappy troll. Anyway, that's what Omid Scobie had to say about it. And then let's get to this. And by the way, Nafisa Shabazz, thank you so much for the super sticker and happy Sunday. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Okay. And then we have the fake tears. When Dan, I got to get used to that name, Wootensnot, asked the wheelchair witch, aka Scam, the wheelchair witch, if she loves Meghan, the evilness has her breaking down in tears. She is the ultimate scam artist, and she is the ultimate grifter. It only took 2 days from the announcement of the Sussex's engagement before all type of mechanisms kicked into gear. So, as you can see here, Chris Bowsey says, bombshell, Meghan Markle's biggest troll and friend of Yankee Wally is Samantha Markle, Meghan's half sister. The calls are coming from inside the house. Well, I'm very proud of that tag. I am very proud of that. That was something, as you know, that I kind of conjured up myself. So I am going to take credit for that one. And it really struck me when I saw Dan Wooten's famous meltdown that he had. Dan Wooten launches a tirade against the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So it is much easier to blame them. I mean, for them to blame anything uncomfortable on racehorses rather than address the fact that the negativity toward them is coming from within the royal family, as Dan Wooten so eloquently says. And so from that is where evolved the calls are coming from inside the house. But I wasn't satisfied with that. No, no, no. This was better, I thought, to just insert Dan Wooten into the poster as the I guess I was going to say the villain in this saga, but as one of the perpetrators, one of the perps. But yeah, so that is abundantly clear. And there's a lot of us who do not have a working knowledge of exactly how the whole Sammy thing evolved. But you know what? As you have already heard more than enough to explain things, we don't really have to revisit that. I was going to talk about it today in depth, but it's no longer necessary. I want to say that most of you all were probably on the Sussex Squad podcast. If you were not, there's no way in the world I could do it the justice because I wasn't on Twitter much longer than when this channel started, and probably not even months after that. So I would be at a terrible disadvantage to try to articulate exactly what the relations between these people were. However, one thing that I was able to do you love that little tiny hand that I gave? Are you loving that little tiny hand that I gave, William? You should be very proud of that tag. The calls are coming from inside the house, accompanied with that scary movie poster from the 70s. You rock baron. Thank you, Black Cougar. I am so glad that God sits high and is listening low because everything they are doing till the sun sets will come back tenfold. That's karma and that's God's word. Thank you, Iris. You always know how to put it. And let's see right here. Uh Legans, I'm sorry, Legans, you say, I love how the British media is digging, trying to tarnish Meghan because of her past, but they totally ignore Samantha's sordid, terrible past. Why not bring up her relationship with her children? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I had actually made a note to myself about that. As much as um, you know, I'm sorry, you guys, but I have to go back to this. I have to go back to this. It was on the Twitter, and this one, I want to say it's this one right here. Was it this one? Yeah. So she questions whether or not the children exist. When people should question whether or not her children exist, seeing that she has no relationship with them. But obviously, that would be stupid because as they do exist and everybody knows that they do, why would we even question that? But that is her half sister who sits on television weeping and crying about how much she loves her sister and that she loves her family and that she wants everybody to be together. But the the thing that gets me is that she has no relationship that we know of with her children and even the entire family. It was said by her own daughter and her mother that Scammy has fallen out with the entire family. We've all known people like that in our lifetime who has fallen out or had some estrangement with their entire family. And in that time of falling out, estrangement, feud, there's no relationship. But then, as soon as she hears about the fact that Harry was dating her half sister, that she's 17 years older than the Duchess of Sussex, 17 years older. So there was little or no relationship. The one thing that I heard is that it was alleged that one day she was asked to babysit and she ran out the house like there was a raging fire behind her. And not just ran out, but that she moved out. That's what has been alleged, is that she moved out. And then, if that wasn't the worst, when people asked about the African American woman that was seen coming and going from the house, she said, "Oh, don't you know? That's the maid. That's the help." That's what she thought of Doria. Sweet, polite, very dignified Doria was called the help. And so, the one thing that I have not said about this entire situation with the Duchess of Sussex and the white side of her family, we can never, ever possibly know what type of insults, what type of indignities that Doria suffered, and by default, um, Meghan. We'll never know what type of hostility that those Marcos side of the family unleashed upon these two women or this woman and child. We'll never know that. As a matter of fact, I don't think most of us want to put too much thought into it because it would be too painful. But considering the way that the father and daughter has conducted themselves in the light of day on national television, in the tabloid media, considering the way that they have conducted themselves, could you only imagine? As I said, there's some things we probably just really don't want to know. It'd be too painful to think of, but I'm sure it was nothing um, easy about it. And I'm assuming that that's why Doria didn't stay for long. And so there she was with this conflict of my daughter having a relationship with her father, because, yes, that's important. Um, in spite of his uh, temperament, he is a man of means. That is her father. And then, of course, the fact that in my very core believe that there was a tremendous amount of um, bias, if you will. I'm trying to avoid the R word, but I'm sure there was a tremendous amount of that type of abuse that went on surrounding that family, which is why it's all the more insulting that once this outcast of the family, Doria, and I guess half in, half out, if you will, um, Megan, or should I say at the time, Rachel, because there was this half in, half out with her, um, I can only imagine too that if she looked more African American than not, she probably would have received probably wouldn't have had much of an invitation herself. So yeah, it's painful to think about, and that was the first thing I thought about when I saw how abusive her sister was um, on television, in the newspapers. That was the first thing I thought about, was that something really bad has happened, something that Doria is not going to speak of, or probably will never speak of, something that the Duchess of Sussex would not likely speak of, and that the people who entertain father and daughter on television pretend that that did not exist. We know it exists. I don't have to see it to say that I know that there was some terrible abuse that went on there. Yeah, I know it. I just know the situation, and I'm sure of it. So I won't even pretend otherwise, and I'll never apologize for what I'm saying. So, Helene, my oldest sister is 6 years my senior. We love each other dearly, but when we were young, 6 years was a lot, and we really started being the best friends, sisters we are now when I was 18 and 19 years old. And that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because otherwise, the younger one that comes along takes a lot of the attention away. And then, of course, as we know, no matter what happens, the older one gets that same tongue lashing. And you should have known better. And you should have known better. And you should have this, you should have that. You're supposed to be a stand in parent, even though you're still a child. And that causes a lot of conflict with siblings. Carol Purdue, you say Toxic Tom had no relationship with Scam and Junior either. Junior hadn't spoken to Senior in 10 years until the engagement was announced, and Scam's own mother called Scam a liar. Isn't it something that all of those people in that family who had no relation with each other, they were all estranged from each other, as soon as they heard about the engagement, all of a sudden they were one in mind. They were all like minded when it came to the big grift. Isn't that something? Tom Sr., Tom Jr., Scammy. Once the announcement of engagement came along, then they really turned it up. There was the one thing when they were dating, but one thing that brought all of them together was when there was the announcement of an engagement. They all came together for that. Wedding plans, even more so. They could not make money fast enough. Where the other side of it, the flip side of the coin, if you will, you have the Raglan family, who I think they found some very distant relatives who were very proud of her. They did finally sit down for television cameras. They showed cemetery plots for distant relatives, like great great grandmother, grandfather, something like that, but they didn't dog her out. The only thing that I had a problem with was the one uncle's. I believe it was just that one uncle sold childhood photos, and I'm sure that was without the Duchess's permission, especially when you consider that they were sold to the Daily Fail. But those exclusive photos, but still, he didn't trash her. He didn't go on to this television career as a grifter. None of that happened with the Raglan family. So, aside from those two things, and maybe there's something that I'm not even considering, or that I'm not aware of, I can't think of anything else that. Thank you, Sheila Watson. They saw a gravy train and are pissed off that the train left the station without them. Absolutely. And this is why it was a good thing that they were not invited to the wedding. The best thing that they could have done for that family was to omit any invitations to the Markles. And then some people speak of her uncle who helped her get the job at the Argentinian embassy as an intern, where she became fluent in Spanish. Well, some people say, well, at least he should have been invited. I don't know. He was a Markle, wasn't he? And I have no reason to believe, God rest his soul, he did pass away, but I have no reason to believe that he wouldn't have been every much the grifter that the rest of the family is. I mean, we know that she has a strong relationship with the niece. As far as I know, the Sammy's mother has not, tried to sell her non-story like the rest of them have, but aside from that, I don't think there's been any other type of relationship with any of the Markles with the media the same as it's been with the Dooley brothers and their mother, um, and of course Tommy Jr. and then Evil Santa. Let's not forget Evil Santa, and of course that's Thomas Markle Sr. and Sammy Grifter Grant. So yeah, there's that. And so anyway, I'm going to look at a couple of more of your comments and then we're going to move on. Let me see here. Baron, my sister and I are 17 years older. Um, and we never had a good relationship until after our mother died. So Sammy, didn't have a relationship with her half sister for sure. Yeah, boy, I tell you that day in what was it, 2008? Was it that the Duchess went to her college graduation? Boy, that was an unfortunate thing. Just that she has that picture or photo or whatever, and she has used it as much as anybody possibly could. But it's just amazing. It seemed like as soon as she found out about Harry, that is, Sammy found out about Harry, it kicked in all type of mechanisms for the big grift. That's what it appears to be. It seems as though that kicked in some kind of like innate, I guess, reflex deep in her core that said, cha-ching. All of a sudden cash registers were going off and it was off to the races with that one. So boy, I tell you, well, it is a lesson. It is one for the history books, but it's an unfortunate thing. Okay, to your point, and paraquote Sharon Charday in her podcast, you generously shared. We don't need to see the private abuse that happened while Meghan was growing up because we see the public abuse now. Yes, yes. Thank you for that. Subscribe. Thank you for that. Exactly. And especially as an African American who has had to navigate myself in a world where I'm not always welcome, where I can never just be, um, you know, you know that certain situations, especially when you're dealing with people who obviously are morally corrupt, you know exactly what's coming down the pike. You don't need all the details to know what's happened. And that's about as scientific as I can get. I just know, okay? Royal Sussex Baron, I think Meghan attended graduation just out of politeness. Yeah, because at that time she was recently confined to the wheelchair. What I don't get is why Scamantha and Thomas Markle Jr. actually think they are owed something by Meghan. Well, you know what? Let's think about that for a second. As you know, Michael Jackson said on so many occasions that his family was hounding him and pursuing him. And do you guys remember the story about Michael Jackson telling his staff, do not let them in? And so the siblings, those allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, money hungry siblings who feels as though because we were part of a band, because we were part of a family, allegedly, you owe us. You owe us. We were the backup. You owe us. Okay. This is all alleged. Now, it was also said that the easiest way to get into the house was to bring his mama. So they brought Catherine, allegedly, supposedly, and when the staff refused to allow them inside of the stately palatial Michael Jackson manor, they pulled the ultimate grift, allegedly. She has to use the bathroom. What? She has to use the bathroom. Have you guys heard this story? And so the staff were like, but we were told not to allow anybody in. And they said, do you mean to tell me that you are going to refuse Michael Jackson's mother the dignity of using the bathroom? And with that, the doors were opened, and allegedly the siblings flooded into the house. You know, I don't know if it was one, two, or six, but they flooded into the house begging for money. Now, I don't know that to be true, but gosh, don't it seem like something that would have happened? There seems to be a certain implied ownership of Michael Jackson based on that relationship with his family, right? And so I see the same thing playing out with that grifter Markle family, is that there's some implied debt. There's some implied debt that you owe us. And so they see this as an opportunity. I mean, Thomas went as far as to say that the royal family owes him. I'm not even going to get into that one. Looking at the graduation pic of Meghan and Scamantha is awkward. Meghan is leaning in, looking relaxed and supportive, and Scammy is, let's see, uh, leaning away and not even looking appreciative of Meghan being there. Yeah, that photo is super awkward. It looked very last minute. You know, it seemed like someone put the screws on Meghan that you really should be there, and because out of sympathy of the fact that I believe at that particular moment, that was when Scammy first went into her wheelchair. I believe they said it was 2008. I can see that happening. Yeah, I'll support her. You know, she's got this terrible thing. She's in the chair. Unfortunately, it seems to have no effect on her mouth. Her mouth works just fine. It's a little juicy, but it works. But yeah, her mouth works just fine. Baron, please, I really do not know why this have of a witch, aka Scamantha, hasn't been sued by the Duchess, because this whole stuff is really getting overboard. And what is that? Irritated, irritated me. Yeah, irritating to me, right? Of course it is, but you can't really make money if you're not visible, and so the lawsuit makes her visible. And otherwise, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. As they said, BuzzFeed, trying to be relevant, has conjured up this article of things that most people already know, or we assume that most people already know. It's really no way of telling. But okay, so if you guys don't mind, I would like to change gears just a bit. Let me see one more here. I think they tried to use Janet to get to Michael as well. Seems like he and Janet were close from what I saw in her documentary. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, if you want to, hey, Ronnie, if you want to really have some kind of perspective, think of anybody who has a very successful life, like even Oprah Winfrey with her siblings. They sold her out to the tabloids, and that was very painful. It happens. And um, with Oprah's sister and brother, I believe that they were both addicted to, I guess, the drug du jour at the time, and they were very vulnerable, especially vulnerable to a pocket full of money, given their situation. If they were bankers or lawyers or something like that, maybe they wouldn't have been as vulnerable as someone who were estranged from their family more often than they were part of the family, and heavily addicted. And both of them died very young. So they were just ripe for the pickings. And with the Markle family, um, I don't know what their various addictions are or what their weaknesses are, but whatever it is, I think mostly they're just grifters. I see them as grifters. So I guess it didn't take a lot of coercion to bring that out of them. Teresa Weissman, let me see. Tashmax says to Teresa Weissman, which was her attempt to get money, more money that is, from TM, because Meghan was already sending him money. Yeah, the Duchess of Sussex hasn't said much more than what we heard in the Oprah interview. She painted her father in the kindest of ways during her Tig days. You know, she made her life seem as normal as possible to a degree. Uh, Barring the fact that her parents are of different races, and that she grew up in this in a bit of a circus atmosphere in Hollywood. Otherwise, she made her family sound very, very modern, because you had the divorced parents and such. And so she has never really gone in on her father, which is too bad, because you can't say the same about him. And I don't think that she ever wants to do that. But that being said, that was his choice when he decided to collude with the tabloid media. So he took any type of connection they could have possibly have had. I mean, it's just incredible to me that he sold her out for the tabloids. I get Samantha because she's probably jealous, but that her father sold her out. Um, and he's not poor. He's not a poor person. He has a lovely pension that goes very far in Rosaslita or wherever he's in. So I don't get that. But I'm going to tell you what I do get. Grifters grift. If the Orange Menace had shown a little more compassion during the start of the pandemic, he would still be president now. But that grifter kicked in. That grift nature kicked in. And grifters are going to grift. I'm sorry, but a grifter is going to grift. That is their core belief, is that they have to grift. They don't know any other way. And so they could have everything in the world. They could have had a life of privilege like our former president, and still, once that grifting kicks in, nothing is going to get in the way. So, okay, let me see. I see you're here, Mo Shannon. Let me see. Rose Sussex Baron. On reflection, I can see clearly why he thinks the royals owe him in light of what we know about Knopf and all the conniving. Yeah, definitely. Because as we have learned, he allegedly has been recruited by the royal family or by Jason Knopf. He has been allegedly recruited on behalf of someone to derail the wedding. They thought there was not going to be a wedding. They were sure that there wasn't going to be a wedding. But there was a wedding, and they are married, and they are thriving in Montecito, California, where there is what? No leaks. There are no leaks in Montecito. They have to find out everything just like the rest of the world when the Sussexes are ready. But other than that, no leaks in Montecito. So they no longer have that control. And by the way, Jay Blocks, thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. I love saying that. Okay, I just saw Harry's promo for the Invictus in Alicia Keys' review. YouTube channel, pretty cool. Promo, Harry is made for Hollywood. Yep, absolutely. So, with that, I think we are ready to move on to another topic. Are you guys good? The documentary accusing MJ came from UK. It was his doing, not to be true. Okay. All right. And Sheila Watson says Harry was not going to let anything come between he and Meghan. He would have eloped with her I'm sorry, if that's what that took. If yeah, I see what you mean. Okay. So yeah, I think that William was probably the most threatened by this relationship. And it was William who allegedly told Harry that he should wait 10 years, and so many other things that was said. But wait 10 years and make sure that she's the right one. So he said that this 36-year-old woman, soon to be 37, should wait 10 years to get married and possibly have a child when she's 48 years old. Huh? That is that what we're doing? Wait until 10 years, because after all, I found somebody who was doofus enough to do that. So wait 10 years so that that 36, soon to be 37-year-old woman would be possibly 47 and 48 years old before she has her first child. Nice try, dummy, but it didn't work. God had other plans, so bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. So moving on, let me see if I got the right slide here. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, I think that's right. Yeah. So there we have it. This is one of the things that they claim drove Harry out of the United Kingdom. I wouldn't say that's necessarily true, but I will say that the one on the left side, the one whose head barely fits into the frame, I would say that I think he is disgusting enough that he would rub this image in his brother's face. This inevitability would be rubbed into Harry's face, and he probably tortured Harry with the whole idea of the baby's color and such. I'm just saying, possibly, in order to try to make life miserable for Harry, because maybe Harry didn't listen to what he said about that woman. I don't want to use the B word, but they said that he called her that kind of woman. You know, that British slang. It's very offensive, especially when speaking of a woman. But that he used that B word, you guys could say it if you want to, and help me out, but I'm not going to say it. But anyway, he called her that B word woman. So I'm sure, you see, he's a bully, and that's how bullies operate. And he probably had this superiority complex with Harry to make his life as miserable as possible because you didn't listen to me. You married her anyway. Thank you, Benny Blair. Thank you, Pamela. Yeah, exactly. And so there you have it. This is the future of the Windsor family. And so, in spite of his hard work, there was no room for Harry, certainly no room for his wife, and absolutely no room for his children. And knowing that this is the fact, see what they had prepared for Harry was the Princess Margaret model, which is very identical to the Prince. I don't want to say his name either, but the one that got in trouble with the lawsuit. That was the model that they had prepared for Harry, is that they wanted him to work and to impress, to go places where nobody else will go, which Harry did more of that than Margaret or the other one combined. But they wanted Harry to continue to Harry and to charm people and to try to save the Commonwealth. But um, all of that was with this idea that Harry was going to do the same thing that William was doing, and that was find somebody who was pretty mediocre and insignificant. In other words, if you can just find a Stepford wife that we can control, someone that doesn't really think for herself, then you can be a part of this until the Cambridge kids are old enough to take on these responsibilities. And then at that point, Harry would have been cast adrift. I mean, that's just the inevitable outcome with that family. But what they didn't count on was that Harry would meet somebody who could hold a conversation, someone who did have a life of her own, a voice of her own, someone who had a seat at the table, someone who just impressed people every time she showed up, opened her mouth. You knew that that was someone of substance and character. And that's what they didn't bank on. Somebody who Harry could actually find happiness with and see that there was an alternative way to live. That was not in the cards. It was use Harry and then cast him adrift. And for God's sakes, don't ever let him live in anything but servants' quarters. Everybody else has the big fine house in the family. Harry was given one cottage after the other. He never lived in a house or a hall or a castle or a palace. He's always had a cottage. As an adult, his living accommodations were restricted to servants' quarters. When you hear cottage on a royal estate, that is where the help lives. And then he was supposed to take his wife, this intelligent, brilliant American woman, and take her to live in the cottage. Not today, Satan. Not today, Satan. That ain't going to happen. Get thee behind me, Satan. Not gonna happen. It was just something about that African American blood that had survived 400 years of oppression that was not going to be satisfied with that kind of accommodation, especially considering the fact that Harry has something that William doesn't have, and that is brains. William is not the sharpest tool in the shed, and everybody knows it. Okay, so back to here. And then there's this. I mean, these photos were coming out one after the other. All of them were saying, your time is near. Um, the kid is getting bigger, and your significance is going to be less, fewer and fewer, less important. And even the grandmother was in on it. The grandmother did nothing, as far as I know, nothing to say to Harry or anybody else that there's a role for you in the future. And nobody with any kind of intelligence would ever depend on this guy to make a way for his brother. He wouldn't. He's too jealous. He's too jealous. And all of those people in the Mormon Tabernacle Choir that are uplifting his ego, they weren't going to suggest anything for Harry, especially not that little weasel behind him there. No, they weren't going to suggest anything for Harry. Harry was not important. And in Kensington Palace, this is William's court. Kensington Palace is William's domain. I keep saying that, but it's true. That's his domain. And even the staff people that were there for the Sussexes, they could not refuse any instructions from William or his staff. There's a hierarchy, and that hierarchy put Harry behind William, put Harry's wife and children, put Harry's staff. Everybody was pushed to the fringe, to the peripherique, as they say in French. And William has to be the most important person in the room. Doesn't matter if he's not the smartest or the most talented. Doesn't matter that all of his jokes fall flat. None of that matters. Speaking of flat, that's his wife next to him. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. William has to be important just because he was born first. Talent, oh, that never stopped us before, has it? So on with my version of things. So Harry tells the Queen that he wants to see her, and the Queen said, "Sure, I'm gonna." Was she in Sandringham at that time, or was she in? Was she up in Scotland at Balmoral? Whatever it was, when Harry went back, remember he told Oprah that when Harry went back to the UK, there was an invitation from the Queen that they would talk, right? The Queen had agreed that they would speak when he returned. And then all of a sudden, the old lady that everybody feels so sorry for, oh, that, and he's mistreated her and all, and he blindsided her. I think that he was blindsided first when she said, and this is what he told Oprah, so I believe it to be true. I won't even throw in a ledge in there. He told Oprah that when he arrived back in the UK without the Duchess of Sussex, without baby Archie, when he was supposed to have this sit down with his grandmother, that suddenly, on his way from the airport, there's this phone call to his aide saying that there's something came up in the Queen's diary that she forgot about and that she won't be able to meet her grandson. Uh-huh. Oh no. No, no, no. Not even later on this week, because see, there's like the whole week is just totally, this is the Queen, right? The sovereign. Everyone in the UK is her subject. She's the ultimate authority. The only person who cannot bear witness in a court of law, which would be redundant because it's her court. So this woman with all this power refuses to see her grandson. She just says, "Oh no, I can't. Something came up." And so then on to the ambush. The only way that he could have a sit down with her was this guy would have to be there. Yep, jealous, manipulative. William would be there, and of course, the weakest father on the face of the earth, he would have to be there, who seems to be afraid of his son. Those two would sit down with Gangster Gangan to iron out how things are going to be. There was no chance that Harry was going to have any time alone with his grandmother. So, on the one hand, we can say, well, she's older and Charles is in charge of everything and, all that malarkey, right? But then on the other hand, even without the help of Charles or William, she somehow had too much in her diary to be with her grandson. And so that is what Harry was left with. He was told that there were no half in, no half out, stripped of his patronages, stripped of his military titles, and stripped of so many things. No security. Have a nice day. Go back to Canada. And that's what he was left with, feeling hollow, empty, um, shocked by the disappointment that his family, including his grandmother that he adored so much. I mean, he wouldn't have said that if it wasn't true, because it doesn't make her look good, does it? So he wouldn't have said that if it wasn't true. So obviously, it's the truth that his grandmother faked him out. Sweet old Granny Gangan faked him out, and pretty much he was stripped of most of the life that he had known simply because he wasn't willing to play the game. It was Harry and Meghan when they returned from Canada to see the Queen when it was canceled. Let me see. Let me see. In hindsight, I think it worked out perfectly. Can you imagine if Harry and Meghan had remained? That's been my thing for quite some time. That they have done the Sussexes a huge favor with the no half in, no half out, because they would have had to take that dangerous trip back and forth during the pandemic when everybody tried to, well, not everybody, but the tabloids insinuated that Harry turned his back on the family and that how could he do this? And of course, what got Lord Nappyhead's newspaper in trouble was when they pushed that narrative too far. You remember that? Lord Nappyhead's paper accused Harry of turning his back on the military. And that's when Harry said, you know what? You've pushed a lot, but you've gone too far. You have overplayed your hand, Lord Nappyhead. So with that, I'll um, I'll see you in court. So um, they overplayed the hand. They totally underestimated Prince Harry. They thought they were dealing with the pushover, or even worse, that other weakling, this one. They didn't realize that they were dealing with the son of Diana. And what does Diana mean? It's a warrior, a hunter. And so the hunted at some point eventually becomes the hunter. And so when pushed too far, they have to suffer the wrath of the Shillings law firm. I'm telling you, it's how Shakespearean can you get? All right, so next. Okay, he can go to the Netherlands, but not to see his own grandmother. Prince Harry clowns around in orange for video plugging Invictus Game event to be held in Holland next month, hours after announcing he will miss Philip's memorial service. Do you know who else is going to miss Philip's memorial service? Gangsta Gangan. She ain't going either. She's not going to the memorial service. So if Gangsta Gangan is not going, if she's gonna go to the racetracks, or if she's going to, go get her hair pulled or whatever, why should he show up? Why should he show up? I mean, she's got better things to do, so why shouldn't he? Of course he's not going. But didn't I just say that his grandmother faked him out? I don't think that Prince Harry should go, not only because he went to the funeral already, but I don't think that he should go, especially since his grandmother won't be there. And there is no indication that upon visiting Narnia that he would have some type of audience with his grandmother. That would be a waste of time. I don't think that they can guarantee that. So why even bother? I think that as we have seen already, whether it was the Queen or whether it was Charles, when Harry was supposed to spend some time alone with his grandmother, it became impossible. So why even bother? He went to the funeral, which is something that most of the people at this memorial service can't say because there was only a handful of people at the funeral. So what? Too bad. He's not going. He's got to work. How about that? He has to work. That's something that the other ones don't know about. Harry has to work. Harry has a day job. So Sarah Vine, that monster, says, it's the poor queen who is being punished by Harry. I'm sorry, Harry's diva drama, right? Now the queen commenced Prince Philip's memorial service. These stories, I didn't just put two different things up, these were side by side. The Queen could miss Prince Philip's memorial service. Her Majesty 95 is struggling with mobility, but rules out using a wheelchair despite pulling out of Commonwealth service and having not walked her corgis for 6 months, right? Like I said, why bother? That's all I'll say about that. Now, guess who will probably be at the memorial service? I think her name is Penny Nutbatch or Natchbull, something like that. Is it Penny Nutbatch or Natchbull? Nutbatch, no. Penny Knockbull. Penny Knocked Up. Penny something. I don't know what her name is. But anyway, this mystery woman who appeared, and don't ask me what's going on in the photo. I have no idea. But this this mystery woman appears at the an old friend, right? She appears at the funeral. There's no big presence of outsiders at the funeral, but somehow she got a seat. When is it Natchbull? I thought it was Nutbatch. Are you sure it's Natchbull? Natchbull, right? Nutbatch. Anyway, Penny Nutbatch shows up at the funeral looking ever distraught. And as you can see in the bottom left hand photo, there is Penny Natchbull, Nutbatch, uh, Nutbush City Limits. Yeah, Penny Nutbush City Limits is down there with the Queen and Philip. I mean, she was this appendage. As you can see, the Queen is thrilled to have her around. Um, Joe Blogs, I have no idea. There was someone who made a meme about that. It wasn't me, but I tell you what, seeing that everybody's being a good sport, I'll see if I can bring it up for you. But there was some rumor that you know how they call Walt Disney the real meaning of Disney on Ice? Yeah, that sort of thing. But I don't know. It's hard to say. You never can tell with that group. Um, so let me see if I can find it. Now, I did not make this. Okay, I'll just say that. But I did save it because I thought it was kind of humorous. Uh, and it speaks to your theory. Well, I don't see it. And you know what? That might be a blessing. Oh, there it is. Just when I thought I wasn't going to be petty. Let me see if this works. Uh, no, that didn't work. Let me see. Okay. Oh, I tell you what, I see what's happening. I'm not actually okay. Okay, I got this. I got this. I got this. Enter studio. Okay, there you have it. So, someone in the Twitter, not me, they said, "Until I know better." Okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying who it's supposed to be. I'm not saying it implies that it's something to do what we just talked about, but they said, until I know better. I don't approve, but since you all don't have Twitter, some of you, I'm just saying somebody said until I know better that that's what it is. So there you have it. Again, it wasn't me, although I am sharing this information. It wasn't me, but as she said, until I know better, XYZ. Yeah, I know, Lydia, but until they know better, not I know better, but they know better. you know, that's that. I just, and I wasn't even going to share that, but since somebody brought it up, I thought I would share it. Okay, so back to Natch Bull. Okay. Um, So yeah, the mystery woman. Now, as you know, I don't know if you can see that slide at the bottom right, but that's the one that says Philip's will is going to be sealed in a vault for like 99 years. So essentially, everybody within the sound of my voice will probably be long dead before anybody can see what's in that will. And then here, Harry urged to fly back to UK as Queen health woes, blah, blah, blah. Well, the Queen, again, they're weaponizing her age. There she is in black. Um, the Queen sat alone. I'm not even going to dig out that photo, but the Queen sat alone and they made a big deal out of it because they were trying to drum up this sympathy on television. That event that everybody not everybody, but that nobody watched, right? And that, of course, was Philip's funeral. Nobody watched, nobody cared. They tried to drum up all this sympathy for the royal family, only to find out that people were furious that they interrupted their regular programming. And by the way, thank you for the bank holiday. Okay. You said, right, Sasha, Philip, side piece. He probably had more. Do you honestly think he was living alone with servants alone while the queen was at KP? Oh, and you know what? As far as all of this heat on Harry to go and be with his grandmother, did I forget to mention who did not go see Philip at the hospital? Did I mention the person who didn't go to the hospital to see Philip? It was Betty. Betty did not go to the hospital. Philip could have slipped away at a moment's notice at the hospital, and Betty was probably at the racetrack. Betty was sitting somewhere with a racing form tucked under her arm, not at the hospital, right? So that family and this implied closeness that they have is only at the Harry's expense to make him look bad. Celebrity podcast has a full description of Penny's long, well-known affair with Philip. Check them out. They've been reporting on the royals since 2006. Not new. Her Majesty rather, share events with her also. Yes, absolutely. I highly recommend the Celibacy. Great, great podcast. They also have a blog, I think, but yeah. So they're journalists and they cover things in depth. And full disclosure, they are the ones who gave me one of my favorite things in life, jazz hands. That's where I first heard jazz hands was from Celibacy. Okay, so moving on. Moving on. Bye, Betty. Okay. So that was slides number one. Let me see, which is number two? Let's go to this one. Yes, All right, I'm gonna be very brave, um, and do this.
Know I need to get this right, and I really want to get it right as well. So, how do I say, good afternoon, you've done a great job in Dutch?
Goedemiddag.
Ja,
Jullie hebben
goed gedaan.
Okay.
Goedemiddag. Jullie hebben het goed gedaan.
Goedemiddag, jullie hebben het goed gedaan.
Yes.
I'll take
Sounds
that.
good.
And what else? Anything else I need to know?
Can you say stroopwafel?
Stroopwafel. I love those. I get double thumbs up from Fenna. I get a slightly bizarre looking face from Yella. Are you a teacher in your spare time?
I was before I...
That's why. What else? What else do I need to know?
Scheveningen.
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 Scheveningen. Oh dear. Okay. Scheveningen.
Wat goed.
Wat goed. Yes, very good. Do you think I'm ready?
We think you're ready.
Dankjewel. Tot ziens in Den Haag.
And don't forget your hat.
Ah yes, don't forget my hat. I got my hat. I got my hat. Oh. And the glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
You're ready.
We're ready.
Okay, well, there you have it. If that wasn't just the most adorable thing that you've seen all day, as you can see, one of the squatties is very proud of her Invictus T-shirt, which I love that shirt. And no, that doesn't look weird. That doesn't look weird at all. But I tell you what, depending on how you're stacked, some tire treads may wear out faster than others. I'm just saying. But yeah, the orange is the color. The royal family in the Netherlands, I believe their name is Orange. And let me show you the ancient hottie, right? Are you ready for this? Ladies and gentlemen, William of Orange. There he is. Is that the ancient hottie or what? And he's wearing black, right? So if you guys are into like, armored suits and stuff like that, that is William of Orange, aka the ancient hottie. He looks like a real bad boy. Okay, so back to this. Alrighty. And so, speaking of orange, one of the things that I love about this is that Harry is having the time of his life. They want Harry to feel afraid to express himself. They want the Sussexes to be terrified to be seen as having a good time. They don't want them to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They don't want them to enjoy the privilege of living in a fine house. They want them to be afraid to ever show it to anyone or anything like that. They don't want them to be. They want them to hide. They don't want them to earn any money. They want to make other people afraid to work with them. All of that has been a failure. It has been a fool's errand, a very futile attempt to try to cage them, even though they are away from Narnia. It's not working. It's not working. They're free. Harry is free to have a good time. Harry is going to be Harry. And when it's time to work, he's also going to be amazing at that too. And when it's time to play, he is going to have a good time. He is not going to be caged like some animal that they want him to be. That's just not going to happen. So Harry is living his best life. He's not afraid to have fun. And this is why, even though guys, I don't expect you to raise your hand and say, yeah, I do kind of feel that way. But tell the truth, some of you all kind of cringe because you don't want the Sussexes to be seen as acting silly or foolish or something like that. You know what? Lower your shoulders and just enjoy the Sussexes living their best life. Don't worry about that. All of those criticisms that you see in the tabloid press or on the social media, if I was like the other person that you heard earlier today, I would say F them. But it's implied. Don't worry about it. Just let them be. They're having a good time. They can't just be serious all the time. They need to relax. They need to have fun. They need to invite people over. They need to network. And of course, they're working for their favorite foundations, charities, including their own. So live and let live. Don't be afraid of the Sussexes enjoying themselves. Has don't need the queen mom. He needed a big mama because Big Mom would have definitely met up with him. Okay. And you say Harry and Meghan's theme song should be Tina Turner's Simply the Best. Absolutely. You call me, you need me, my heart's on fire. Uh, uh, Speak the language of love. If you know what whenever I hear that song, you ought to see the way I started prancing around here like Tina Turner. That's what everybody really needs in their day is some big, chubby, over-caffeinated, chubby baby boomer prancing around the house like Tina Turner. I'm so glad that there's no surveillance in my household. Otherwise, that may end up in the wrong hands should it ever be hacked or something. Um, but yeah, when that song comes on, I turn it up. I turn it up. I turn it up when that song comes on. You haven't seen it. And so there they are. So yesterday, I have to apologize to the squad. You guys kept asking me if I saw the video, And I'm like, yeah, I saw it. That video is 2 years old. That video's from last year. That's an old video. I was so wrong. It was a new video, and I didn't let the whole thing play. I saw these people, and I saw Harry and everything. I'm like, that ain't no new video. Y'all need to stop drinking that stuff. Y'all own that stuff. That ain't no new video. Well, how wrong I was. It was a new video. Yeah. Yeah. Don't I sound just like a baby boomer? The minute I disagree with somebody, the first thing I say is, y'all on that stuff, ain't you? Harry has always been this person. That's what made the world, including the Brits, love him so much. Everyone knows H doesn't take himself too seriously. Absolutely, Benny Blair. Now, here's the other person who I am so glad, and she was also criticized. What kind of Duchess does this? What kind of Duchess does that? One of the best laughs that I've had for a long time was when the Duchess of Sussex talked about her hair. She was going for that Andy McDowell look with the, crimped curly hair. And, she thought that because their hair was so similar that she could, rock that hairstyle, only to find out that being of African descent, that humidity would wreak havoc with her hair. And she laughed at herself. She had such a good time, and the laugh was on her. And it wasn't that people were laughing at her, they were just laughing with her because she thought it was hilarious. And hearing the Duchess of Sussex compare herself to Krusty the Clown, what could be more human than to have someone admit that they got it wrong and that they went to school, and by the end of the day, the kids were calling me Krusty. That the kids were referring to her as Krusty the Clown. What could be more human than that? So I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you evidence A, Krusty the Clown. So yeah, I'm glad that they're not afraid to do this. They're not bothered by it. They're not bothered. So um let them enjoy themselves. You guys don't get nervous for them. Don't worry that they're going to make a spectacle of themselves. Don't worry about the tabloids' nastiness. they're going to talk about something anyway. As they said on Tina and Michelle today, they will find something. Whatever happens, they will find some type of criticism to hold against them. So they may as well have fun. They work hard, play hard. And so here's another indication: Harry outside juggling while the Duchess is sitting there doing her work and making this video with Melissa McCarthy. They're enjoying themselves. This is the only corner of the house that we've seen. You see that I think it's sandstone or travertine marble, whatever it is. They're enjoying themselves and they're having a good time. There's their his and her desk where Harry filmed the Invictus promo, right? So that's their world. You know, that is Casa de Sussex, and they're having a good time, and that's all that matters. So let's just, um, I guess, shield ourselves from the criticism that is held against them because, yes, it affects us, but we have to try to tune it out. More than that, she took the win out of the sales of the trolls, like to come at her about her hair. Meghan is a real one in all aspects of her life. Yep, absolutely. And Mo Shannon says the best thing about our Duchess is that she isn't like all the others. Absolutely, Mo. Thank you for that. Sheila Watson says that's how Queen Victoria and Prince Albert work side by side. Yes, they had the desk where they would both I believe they sat across from each other actually, or maybe it was side by side, but I thought it was across from each other. But either way, they did work together, and the affairs of state were taken on by both husband and wife, and they worked as a team. They had a very strong relationship, no matter what anybody thinks of Queen Victoria. The one thing that was a constant was that she had a very strong relationship with Albert. Okay. Exactly. Harry and Meghan, live your best life. Let the haters skate. Okay. And Church Nelly says Duchess Dents went sliding down. Inquiring minds want to know. Thank you so much, Don Robinson Gale, for the super sticker. Thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Happy Sunday to you, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Okay, let's see here. I've heard I have a hard time with letting a lot of this stuff slide when it comes to these two. Saying negative stuff about my two faves gets to me, and if I were close enough to I hear you. I hear you. Okay. If you have not already, please hit the like button. 930 in the chat and 373 in likes. Make it make sense, right? So, yes, please hit the like button and we move on. Okay. So, this was the part that I couldn't wait to get to. I was literally working up to the last second before Tina and Michelle ended. I was putting together a collage because I was so inspired by their conversation. One of my favorite topics is exactly how dumb he is, right? And how dumb is he? That almost sounds like Johnny Carson. He was so dumb. How dumb is he? He's so stupid that if they put his bird, I'm sorry, look at that, I didn't said it wrong. He was so stupid that if they put his brain in a bird, it would fly backwards. I ruined it. Anyway, so the dum dum. Let's go. Oh, thank you so much, Katie K. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Happy Sunday to you, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. So, how dumb is he? Well, as you know, or maybe you've heard. Now, I'm pretty sure this is true because I haven't seen anybody contradict it yet. But apparently, Prince Charles was once advised to, well, not advised, but told that he would partake in this chairlifting thing in one of those Oceania Tour islands. And he refused because he thought the optics would be a bit of a challenge, right? He refused for whatever reason. So, as far as I know, there are no photos of Prince Charles being carried about by the natives. But somebody who was too stupid, someone who couldn't read the room, thought it was great fun. Oh, they clapped, they smiled, they cheered. Kate was clapping her hands, and I'm not even going to say what I think she said, but yeah, Kate was clapping her hands and everything. I mean, it was disgusting. Thank you for being a member. What is that? Indessa Butler. Welcome to Royal Sussex, and thank you for being a member. Oh, it looks like you ride horses. I'm so jealous. I've never done that before. First, her sister Margaret, Diana, Fergie, and now Meghan. My God, Lizzie is one insecure member of the Kennel Club. Like the way I cleaned that up. But yeah, so there you have it. There you have it. Okay, next stupid, that pose. Why in the world did he do that? I don't know. And by the way, this is not in chronological order. I just went through my vast library of photos to figure out everything that I thought makes him stupid. So the thing is, I'm trying to help make the case that was started earlier about how stupid he is. Thank you, TCC Son, for the super sticker. And thank you for being a member. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And thank you, Carol Purdue. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And I'm going to give you a little extra. Hello, Ivy here. I haven't done that all day. I have to do that at least several times a day. Okay, stupid number 2 or 3. That portrait or painting of the Negro page, as it is known. As you can see, the Obamas are visiting the Cambridges there at the Kensington Palace. Do you guys want to know who brought the painting to our attention? Do you guys want to know who did that, or do you know already? I'm going to tell you who. Well, he didn't do it directly, but Lord Nappyhead's newspaper, the Daily Fail, they were the ones who actually circled the painting in the photo. Rather than take it down, they decided it was a good idea to just put a lamp in front of it. As you can see, the lamp seems to be out of place because it is placed too close to the other lamp. Well, the reason why it looks like that is because they moved the lamp from the table to the far right. You can barely see it, but there's a table with cheap alcohol on it. And so the lamp was moved from that table to the front of the portrait or painting of the subservient uh, member of staff, if you will, and or slave. And then they put a lamp in front of it. The thing is, you can still see the guy, but for whatever reason, they thought this was clever. And I can't help but think that the person who said, "Oh, I know, I'll put the lamp in front of it." Something tells me that the person who thought that that would solve everything was William. I don't know why. I don't know on what authority I have gleaned that William was the one who did that, but it just seems like William did it. I'm just going to blame him anyway. Okay, moving on. Let's go. We're doing this clockwise. Williams, BBC Lives ruined my mother's life. Ruined my mother's life. William literally assist, assisted all of these, I don't know, co conspirators. However, his mother ended up in that tunnel in Paris. He decided that none of the other stuff happened. We're just going to put it on that panorama interview. That is what ruined my mother's life. Uh-huh. My mother was delusional and paranoid, he said. And yeah, nothing else happened. He decided to side with the conspiracy, if there was one. He decided to assume that everything just happened because she gave that interview. And people bought it. Unfortunately, some people bought it. Some people still believes that something deplorable happened to his mother, but he was willing to drink the Kool-Aid. Somebody told him that it needed to be done, and he did it. So that's another stupid. Okay, Fancy Wolsome, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex, and happy Sunday to you. Moving on to another stupid. This is not in any chronological order. And if you are offended by me calling him dumb and stupid, too bad. The ski trip, the famous ski trip, the most important occasion on Gangster Gan's calendar is the one that's coming up soon, and that is the Commonwealth, whatever that is, Commonwealth Appreciation, Commonwealth Day, whatever you call it. That is the most important thing to Her Majesty the Queen is the Commonwealth. Oh, I'm sorry, that one is colonization. The Commonwealth event. What did he do? He went skiing. Can y'all hear this? He went skiing. Rather than to go to the Commonwealth, the most important thing on Her Majesty the Queen's calendar, he went skiing. He took his family skiing. But at some point, they diverged from one another. He went off with some, I don't want to call the girl bimbo, but he went off with some bimbo, leaving mediocre Middleton and the kids to themselves. That was in 2017. That was in 2017 when Harry, actually, that was in March 2017. So there was no announcement of an engagement at that point. Harry and Meghan were still getting to know each other, still roasting chicken and, creeping back and forth from one country to the other, having this beautiful affair with one another, or not affair, but having this beautiful romance with one another. And William decided to take his family skiing. So that is what happened. Dara Edgehill, thank you so much for the super sticket. Sticket. Oh, my words are getting kind of. Let me drink some water. That's what it is. I think I'm a little dehydrated. But thank you for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And happy Sunday to you. So that was another event where he let us know that he wasn't too bright. It was embarrassing. Robert Jobson wrote a scathing article about him and his lack of duty. So that was another stupid. Let me see if y'all have anything to add to my theories here. Let me see. Idiot brought it. His parents were divorced, and his dad openly admitted his affair with his side piece, right? Speaking of side piece, how do you take your chicken? Extra crispy? I mean, if you're going to have a piece, do you want it cooked extra crispy, or do you just want it fried? Do you want it dried? Or I don't know. I don't know why that came to mind. Association or something like that. I don't know. So okay, Patricio Marcel, you say, why does Willie Leaks always crunch his face into that ugly picture? Someone needs to tell him that it does not look good. Well, the reason why he does that is because he is so weak and insignificant You know how they always say he's incandescent with rage? That's because there's no there there. Because he lacks substance, the only way to big him up, and I learned this watching Henry VIII. You know, I love Henry VIII. Henry VIII said that they always use that angry William to try to big him up. And it made so much sense to me. I have not forgotten it since. I remember that, very clearly. And it made so much sense that I carry that with me. Can you find out what happened to the first nanny? Something horrible happened. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm not sure that it was ever made public, and it has to do with the kids, with Archie, and I don't really want to know. It might be too horrible. It might keep me up at night. That's when William took along his bimbo. Saw it on another YouTube channel. Yeah. Hot Tub Hannah, whatever her name was. Okay, the bird and Charles ruined Diana's life. Charles had her something. So one, he could marry the bird, and two, the royal family didn't want her to marry the man she was with. Yes, if you're implying that the family had it in for her because of her marrying a non-Christian, because it involved a relationship with a Muslim, stepfather for the future queen, future king. Oh, did I slip when I said that? The future queen? Was that a Freudian slip when I just called William the future queen? Because I heard, okay, never mind. Um, so, okay, let me scroll a bit here. Sharon, you say British tabloids all got their panties in a bunch about Harry not coming to the Commonwealth. Why didn't get his upset when William, uh yeah, his entire family, um let me see, skiing, right? No one said a word, right? Okay. Well, because William is the future heir. Although I have to say, I saw that article from Robert Jobson, and he was very hard on William. So if you can find that article, it is pretty scathing. That's the only time that I will probably ever send you to a tabloid, is to find that article that Robert Jobson wrote about that ski trip. It was great reading. I just found it when I was like searching for photos, and I was like, Robert Jobson, I didn't know you were capable of that. He has his moments. Robert Jobson has his moments, but the problem is they are few and far in between. He could be a very good reporter if these reporters or journalists or royal roaders, if they actually look to the royal family with a critical eye instead of waiting for the next free meal or dance or whatever. Robert Jobson could probably critique that family better than anybody who is giving them a free pass right now. Billboard should stop being incandescent with rage. I'm sorry, not Billboard, Billard. He has so many nicknames. Someone should tell him that he is frying what is left in his hair. Okay, I'm gonna move on from this one. Oh, okay, I got one last thing. The one where Kate is wearing the blue coat dress. Oh, that's so weird. I've never seen her in a coat dress. I'm being sarcastic. That was when they went to Scotland, and Scotland asked them, please do not come up here, and they went anyhow. And then there was this big scandal where William decided that he's a politician. He started playing politics, and he got involved with a meeting with Gordon Brown, is it? Well, he was the former prime minister, and nothing looks more political than taking this trip north and meeting with a former prime minister. So he really had a misstep right there. Okay, Ruth Lopez. I think Willie's attack on his mother was a shout out to Kate that she better shut up and put up with his cheating, alleged cheating, or she could get dumped too, just like Diana. But Kate will never be Diana. Well, the only thing I could say is that if he ever tries to dump Kate, somebody is going to get a good running start and catch up to him and do a flying kick into his lower back. And once he's down on the ground, that air hostess is going to roll over him several times with her beverage cart, and then she's going to jump up and down on his torso and rip out what's left of his hair, because she has spent too much time and too much money to try to pass off that mediocre daughter of hers as a future queen consort. So I agree with everything you said except for that, because the air hostess, she might seem like some bumbling, you know what, but I think that I think the air hostess will steamroll him with her beverage trolley until he is limp, if he ever tries to dump that mediocre daughter of hers. So if I was him, I wouldn't do it, because if you think that she's a lot of things now, wait and see what happens if he ever tries to dump her. So, yep, this is the one I would worry about. I wouldn't worry about some conspiracy, or I wouldn't worry about her being in a Paris and tunnel or something like that. This one, this one is the one that I would watch. So, if William knows what's good for him, he will never say, "I've had enough, I'm out of here," because the air hostess will tear him a new one. Okay, so let's go to the next one. By the way, I think I have three of these collages I put together. Okay, so we've already done the skiing thing. That's another one right there. There was that foot race. That was dumb. You know, you can't beat Harry. And then, of course, there's the thing about the environment. So let's go with all of these photos at the same time. It doesn't matter whether it's the one where he is shown to be a hypocrite, helicopter, private jet, multiple huge homes, personal train, climate change hypocrite. How about that day he pretended to have, what do you call it? That earshot, earth flop, whatever it is, when he had that event where he went dressed as the Mitchum Roll-On deodorant guy. He decided he would cosplay the Mitchum Roll-On deodorant, right? And they told everybody, don't wear anything new. This is about the environment. Wear your old stuff. Well, that was easy for Kate, because even her new stuff looks old. See what I mean? So that was easy for Kate. Um, But it was a big flop. It was a failure. Nobody showed up, and there was no throngs of people outside trying to peer through the crowd to see what was going on. There's just that one family in the background that were headed to Tesco's to buy some takeaway food so that they can go home and heat it and eat it. You can see the older son. That's probably a little girl in the carriage, or pram, if you will. There's the mom and there's the dad, and nobody else, just photographers, reporters, the guests, and the Cambridges. That's it. There's more security than there is throngs of people trying to peer into the crowd to see what's going on. And those people just happened by. It was a big flop. That's why I call it Earth Flop, because nothing happened. They had this snazzy car with the green light, this electric car, and girl, bye. Nobody cared. Okay, so then there's the royal family flew enough air miles to get them to the moon and back in the last 5 years. All of that is true. Then that dum dum decided to take on Jeff Bezos. Spend the money on Earth instead of spending the money in space. Is this working? Can you guys hear me? Spend the money on Earth instead of spending the money in space. He said that. This is the guy with private jets, helicopters, several large homes, private train, um, possibly two ladies. And he had the nerves to say, spend the money on Earth and the environment and all that. Oh, come on, man. Well, hello, Sean. Thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Thank you for the super chat. Of course, Queen is appropriate because I'm still waiting for Will to sleep rough with me or any black man. Well, now he's been known to do that. He will sleep rough. He'll sleep rougher than the best of them. But thank you for that super sticker, super chat. And let's see, Bezos. Oh, and then there's that photo of him hugging the tree. That was a huge mistake. I don't know what he's doing with that tree. Just when you thought he was satisfied with sleeping rough with a black man, there he is doing something to that tree bark. It's all so disturbing. I just can't look at it anymore. Okay, and then let's continue with how dumb he is. Let me see how many. Oh yeah, I got two of these left. So let's go from left to right, counterclockwise, clockwise rather. There he is posing with black people, because if you look, William says human population growth in Africa is harming wildlife. Not only did he say it once, but he said it twice. And in order to try to deflect, the first thing he decided to do was to go and find some family of Africans or people of African descent. And of course, he said, by the way, can you guys wear something as tribal looking as possible? I'm in trouble here. So they did. And there they are with William. And they're taking a photo, giving him a little cover because of his mouth. And then, of course, there's William trying to sneak out and have an evening. Whoever the lady is in the car with him has not been identified. The Daily Mail ran this story. And then, of course, they pulled it because I think they had got a phone call from Kensington Palace saying, what are you doing? We're working together, right? Wink, wink. And they said, but the calls are coming from inside the house. The calls are coming from inside the house. So, anyway, they caved. They took the photos down. And then there's the thing with the shout that was supposed to be a confidential chat line for young people who were having, issues with their mental health, everything from self-harm to self-mutilation or whatever. And so somehow that information was leaked to third parties. They promised that it wouldn't, but it was, right? So gonna get through this one. Jake Tapper decided to echo Williams, I guess, faux pas with the how would I put this? I'm trying not to use the R word, but anyway. Anyway, this guy who is supposed to have a degree in geography said that a war like Ukraine is so alien to Europe and that you would expect to see these things in Africa or Asia. Allegedly, that part, Africa and Asia, he said he didn't say that. But one of the pool reporters who had no other job but to quote him said that that was the case. And to this very moment, that reporter, Dickie something, he has not retracted it. He just said perhaps he heard wrong, but he did not retract his words yet. So he's trying to have it both ways. And then what about that time they flown the empty aircraft to pick him and his family up so it would look like they were environmentally responsible, right? A commercial aircraft that was flown empty, filled with Cambridges, taken someplace else, and probably flown away empty again. And he did that to try to embarrass the Sussexes. And of course, to the sycophants, they probably don't know about it, but we do. Let's always say a prayer for the Sussexes. I do it every night because they need all the blessings and protection from Almighty God. Connie Balmer, you are absolutely right. And we should all do that every day because the Sussexes continue to be under siege from the British tabloid media and from those phone calls that are coming from inside the house and so on and so forth. So they do need our blessings and prayers and everything that we can, positive energy we can send them. That's exactly what their marriage appears to be. Um, will continue to be. She is going nowhere. I believe she does not mind. Oh, I think she minds. She's just helpless. Let me see. Harry knows that the whole royal family had something to do with his mother, including Lizzie. Okay. Marshall, you say, I hope the journalist like Jake Tapper causes Billy and Goat cancel their American tour. Americans don't care about the royals. That is true. The when the Cambridges got married, they took a tour of the U.S. And at that point, there was still a bit of the hoopla from the wedding, but that quickly wore away. And most people, like a whole generation of people, have grown up and had little or no information about the Cambridges. They all knew Harry, but William and the Cambridges, they um, they really wasn't on the radar. Mumbles and the Duke of Gaps are never-ending search for black props for their photo ops. Yep. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Let me see. Was I finished with that? Yeah, I did. Okay, and there he is. This is when I realized that he does not have a sense of humor. He tried to tell that joke about the delivery man being tackled and frisked, and it was all very awkward. And if it was anybody but him that said that, it would have been a huge controversy. But nothing came of it, except he looked like a horse's back end. But um, yeah, that was that. Prince William wears casual R words like he does his receding hairline visibly. It's time to call him out on the R word. From Meghan Markle to his recent war is alien in Europe comment. He has a case to answer. My piece in The Voice. So that is from Dr. Shola. Dr. Shola wrote an article about William and the fact that he needs to finally atone for his racehorses because this is a pattern. This is not a gaffe. This is a pattern. This is obviously his core beliefs. And people continue to look away because he's the future king, but he is going to prove to be a huge disappointment to um, the country, to Narnia, when he becomes king. As a matter of fact, when he becomes the Prince of Wales, that is when the decline is, I'm sorry, not declined, but the decline will begin. So Prince William called Meghan Markle that woman. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Some of you guys filled in the blank. Thank you so much for that. BAFTA president Prince William will not attend Sunday BAFTA Awards. You know what? Now that was smart. If I have to say that William did anything smart, declining to visit the BAFTA Award, that was intelligent. The only thing that is dumb is that it took him about, 10 years to figure out he wasn't welcome. So, okay, 1 for William on that one and 9 for BAFTA. Because I think it was 10 years of BAFTA awards and he wasn't reading the room. The fact that nobody applauded him and his mediocre Middleton wife wasn't enough to keep him from going year after year after year. And so there you have it. Those are just a handful of reasons why I say he is about as dumb as the day is long. Not very intelligent, obsessively jealous of his brother. Um, and somehow, I guess I don't know, he he probably feels a certain way about the Duchess, too disturbing to discuss. So that's that. Dummy. Baron, you tried to get rid of us yesterday with your traveling in Europe. When were you? When you were still over 600 squatties. Yes, I talked about Europe to see how fast I could evacuate the chat, but you guys were lingering along for a while. And I don't know, I may do that again today just to test the fatigue that comes from my travels in Europe story. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so that was that slide, and I think I have just one more. So, time for a little messy. Most of this messiness you guys have seen already, but oh, by the way, let me just do this. So the other day I tried to show this video. It did not work, but this is the one where William said this. Okay, you know what? This aligns with William is stupid.
We are thinking about you the whole time and we really care about what's going on. So
Sometimes it's just more than financial.
well, if we can give you the odd smile here and there, that's important. So, I'm sorry we can only come and give words and comfort, but we are thinking about you the whole time and we really care about what's going on. So
Sometimes it's just more than financial.
well, if we can give you the odd smile here and there, that's important. So,
One more time.
I'm sorry we can only come and give words and comfort, but we are thinking about you the whole time and we really care about what's going on. So
Sometimes it's just more than financial.
well, if we can give you the odd smile here and there, that's important. So, I'm sorry we can only come and give words and comfort, but we are thinking about you the whole time and we really care about what's going on. So
Sometimes it's just more than financial.
well, if we can give you the odd smile here and there, that's important. So,
So there you have it. William said that sometimes we can give you a little smile and a wave, but unfortunately, that's all that we can do for you. Oh, I don't want to miss that. Someone on Twitter said that there's only gone to the BAFTA 42% of the time. Done. He became. Oh, okay. All right. BAFTA doesn't want anyone connected to being an outwardly racehorse royal in attendance. The only royal that'll accept and applaud would be Harry and Meghan. Yep, that is true. So yeah. Anyway, as for the video, William said that we could only offer a smile and a wave. Well, Kate did bring a box of stale pastries, 2 pans of stale pastries. Look at me being mean, stale pastries. But yeah, Kate did bring some pastries or whatever. So let's be fair. They did bring a bag of goodies. Now, they were only pretending to be the Sussexes by doing that. But yeah, so that's the video that I was hoping to play the other day, and it just didn't work out, but I finally got it to work. How is Harry, the private citizen, able to financially contribute, but an empire that cleaned out the entire nations can't? It's a good question, isn't it? Let me see what else. Ginger Lily, William is not the brightest bulb out there. It is best to let people think you are stupid than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. I like that. So let me see. And now to the messiness. So yesterday I went like on a petty rant with my photos. And so I decided yesterday, I don't know, I was just feeling a certain way. And I started just like, you know, marrying up images that I thought complemented one another. So there you have the Countess of Wessex wearing that deplorable blue jumpsuit, um, with her fist balled up in case somebody has some critique. Um, and when I see that, every time, all I ever see is the Cracker Jacks boy. So I decided to marry them together. Yes, it's Gumby. It is the blue Gumby. Yes, the Cracker Jack boy. And then, if that wasn't enough, I started thinking about William. And every time I see this photo, I always think, you rang. Remember that Lurch from Adam's Family? You rang. So it just seemed like an obvious pairing to put William and Lurch together because he looks just like Lurch in that photo. So I decided to throw them together. And then, if that wasn't enough, my oldie but goodie, ho, 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 Green Giant. I decided to throw the Green Giant and Kate's country cottage kitchen curtains together. They just seem to complement each other. Like I say, I was in a bit of a petty mood yesterday, and so it just seemed obvious that one belonged to the other. And so, from that, let's go back to how this week started. And that, of course, was just the typical American Prince Harry, which led to an entire uh, chain of events that we're not supposed to talk about. But yeah, so that happened. And then, of course, this week was I think someone said that was a silky chicken. And there's Camilla with her over the knee boots, her cinched waist, and that Farrah Fawcett hairdo under a William Shakespeare era fancier. What do they call it? Well, anyway, that hat. But yeah, so there you have it. Just a patchwork of contradictions. Yes, and then, of course, Camilla cried at the Ukrainian church. And I found another photo of her crying when she was talking about, or should I say, when she went to listen to women that were abused, as if we could ever forget about Princess Diana and the abuse that she suffered from the Duchess of Cornwall. I won't even throw an allegedly in there, and Prince Charles. That was abuse too. Visiting the farm run by the Woolley family in Dubo today, Meghan took a homemade banana bread with her as a gift. It went quite quickly. And so Meghan did bring banana bread and some of that fancy tea to meet for lunch. She baked the bread herself. And not to be outdone, it only took 3 years, but if you notice, what was it, 3.5 years later, Kate thought, you know what? I'm going to take some treats over to the Ukrainian cultural center. Yeah, so royal couple brought homemade chocolate brownies and granola bars from Kensington Palace for volunteers coordinating the relief effort. Yes, so they brought granola bars and brownies. They didn't say Kate made them herself, but somebody made them. But yeah, it only took her about 3.5 years to um, copycat or copy Kate so that she can be more like the Duchess of Sussex. 3 years. Oh, you know what? I took a sip of water and I forgot to turn the mute button off. Sorry about that. How long was I out? How long was I out? Anybody? How long was it? I'm just curious. Yeah, I forgot. I went to take a sip of water and I forgot the mute button. I've done it all day. That's just like the first time that the first time for this video that I let slip the mute button. But yeah, so anyway, I was saying that the Queen rarely ever gives money, but she has, and I think that is the Sussex effect. That Prince Charles usually gives a lot with other people's money. I don't know if you heard that. And of course, the Sussexes have been incredibly generous over the past couple years. So that's it for those slides. And this was from yesterday. Okay, I don't think we need to go through any of these again. But yeah, that was from yesterday. Harry has already been to the funeral. No need to go to the memorial. And we watched both of the videos. So, yes, I have gotten through everything already. What time did it's 3 o'clock. I haven't been on. Oh my God, I've been on for 2 hours. You know, the time change and everything, I got a little confused. Um, you know what? I was looking at the live and I'm just like, oh, I've only been on but now I get it. I thought it was 2 o'clock. So I'm like, wow, that was a fast hour. But apparently it's almost as though somebody roofied me. I lost track of time. Have I really been on for 2 hours? That is so strange. Doesn't even seem like it. What have I talked about for 2 hours? I wonder. I didn't say anything about that time I went to Cancun, did I? Because that can prove embarrassing. But yeah, so I don't know what I talked about for 2 hours, but interesting that the time has gone by. No, I have not been in her brownies. Let me see. Oh, that was cute though. You are representing Sussex squad at the Invictus game. Well, I because I have because of my oral surgery and such, I don't think I can afford to do something like that this time around. But when they come back to the US, I am going to I'll try to see them someplace in the US. But yeah, right now I have some things going on that will make it impossible for me to go to The Hague. Although I was hoping to go, but it's just not a good time. As you know, I'm still recovering from my oral surgery and some other things going on. So bad timing, but I will be there in spirit. That is for sure. Yeah, so I won't get a chance to get some new stamps in my passport. I haven't been to the Netherlands since 2009, which is unfortunate, but I haven't been there since 2009. Let me see. We've simply been having too much fun and merriment. You're sipping on the yak yak again. Really, this time change has thrown me off. And I'm looking, okay, 3 o'clock. I started at 1 o'clock. Yeah, so I guess that makes sense, but it just didn't seem like I was on here that long. Trigger warning is Calmilla, aka Flicker, aka Seattle Slew, aka Secretariat, aka My Little Pony, aka National Velvet, High Ho Silver, aka Trigger. Oh, wow, you didn't forget any of them. Secretariat. I haven't heard that one in years. But thank you for that, Diane. You know, her alarm clock, most people have like a buzzer or bells or something like that. But you know what her alarm clock is? That's her alarm clock. Did you guys know that? That is her alarm clock. Seriously. There's no bells, there's no buzzers, there's that is Camilla's alarm clock. So, I mean, what else would what else would get her to the starting gate besides the that? So, I mean, I guess you could say hi old silver, but that means she's gonna rear up on her back legs and start, whinnying and stuff. So yeah. you know, I had someone one day, they said, I like your podcast. They actually sent me an email. I still haven't answered yet. And I don't know if they're listening or not. That was like some months ago. But they were somehow offended by the fact that I'm constantly saying some pretty degrading things about that fossil that you see on the screen there. And there's nothing I could say or do that is going to make her life in any way as tragic as what she has done to our Queen of Hearts. So, too bad for that. And I'll stop when I'm ready, not because somebody tells me to, but this is a terrible, terrible individual who has done some pretty deplorable things to someone that was young and impressionable and quite innocent, but she had to grow up fast because of this one and the other one. So, um, I'm not prepared to drop the F bomb just yet, but it's implied. The F bomb is implied. Okay. Do we have a new member? All right. Well, thank you. Let me see. Bologna, Lanitha. Welcome to Royal Sussex, and thank you for becoming a new member of the channel. In terms of membership perks, well, just ask the other squatties about that. But we appreciate you becoming a new member. And to those of you that belong to the Patreon, I do apologize in advance if you guys have been looking for anything special on Patreon. I think I log into it maybe once a week. As I'm doing daily uploads, and as Lydia or Church Nelly or Anastasia Joan Commonwealther will tell you, I have been quite busy with this channel. For the past 10 months, I have done over 400 videos, and it is not within my realm of ability to maintain the Patreon and all the other stuff and do this podcast every day, or this, to upload every day. So, I would literally have to devote another day to something like that. So that's why there's the lack of content on the Patreon. And so there's nothing special there. And I rarely go there. Like if you wanted to hide something from me, um, put it in the Patreon. I probably won't see it for a long time. Yes, the Patreon is like a secret undisclosed location. So yeah, that is the reason why there's not much there, because as some of the squatties that have been on Royal Sussex for a long time will tell you, that rain or shine, at home or traveling, every day there's another thrilling, compelling, okay, those are my words, exhilarating upload from Royal Sussex. And So it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that I have been committed to a daily upload, and it is way too much work for me to do that. So I choose to abstain. So anyway, that is why. And thank you everyone who has made contributions to this channel. Thank you for those who do have memberships. I think. Let me see. Is it right? Anybody that's a member, tell me. I only have one level, one tier of membership. Is that right? I haven't done anything else with that. It took me about 7 months before I actually worked on the merchandise. So I'm slow, but I'm worth waiting for. But yeah, so the level 2 tier of membership, that is forthcoming. Expect that in 2023 probably. Seriously, by the time I get to it, it'll probably be 2023. So hang in there. There's another level coming. Um any questions? Does anybody have any questions for me before we go? Let me send love to our faves, Princess Diana, the Queen of Hearts. Where are you, Diana? There you are. I think this is like Mo Shannon's one of her favorite looks for Diana. She loves this suit. And of course, the Queen of Everything, Doria, the Queen of our hearts. I mean, the Queen of Everything. So the the Queen of our hearts, and the Queen of Everything, Doria. So that is something that we do every day, is we have to remember our two queens for their incredible guidance and sacrifice. Camilla was sending the greedy old guzzler, Thailand Tommy, his favorite whiskey. Yeah, probably. But remember, he said he don't drink. He only buys beer for the guys that work at the gate. That was stupid, though. Remember, Thomas Markle said that those photos of him leaving this grocery store with beer was embarrassing, and people would think that he was a big loser and all that stuff he was saying. But I said it before and I'll say it again. How stupid can you be to tell the world that you bought beer for the night watchman or the gate security? You are putting their jobs in jeopardy by telling people that you buy them beer and they accept it from you while they are on duty, most likely. So that was kind of stupid, but then so is Thomas Markle. Clever, conning, scheming, but just a bit dumb. But yeah, so any more questions for me? Anybody else? Anything? Like a behind the scenes Royal Sussex thing? Benefit of Patriot members perks is supporting Royal Sussex and having fun in a safe space. Thank you, Loretta Memphis. That is so kind of you to say that. That is so kind of you to say that. But yeah, I'm just not good at doing several things. I could like focus more on one thing or the other, but not both at the same time. That would really throw me off. So I'm going to show you guys one of the reasons why. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see. Nope, that's not working out. Oh, let me try this. Nothing? No. Okay. All right. So, great podcast, Baron. Thank you. Have a great week, everyone. Eldridge, thank you so much. So, there are still 747 people in the live chat. How do I clear out this place? Well, did I ever tell you about that time that I went to Venice for the first time back in 1999? I like to do that and then just watch the numbers drop. Well, back in 1999, that was my first time visiting Europe. I say that was my first time visiting Europe. There we go. I knew it was coming. My Europe stories are usually accompanied with the occasional odd eye roll or two. Anyway, so when I went to Venice back in 1999, that was my first time there. Back in 2019, I made my 20-year anniversary trip to Venice. And let me tell you, not much had changed at all. It still smelled like a sewer. No, I'm just kidding. You know, they always say that it smells like a sewer, but that wasn't my experience. Both times I've gone in summer, I've gone in winter, and the weather was absolutely perfect because I like the cold, I like the warm, and it was actually pretty hot that second time. Yeah, the second time I went. Uh, well, if you remember yesterday, somebody said, Baron, I'm having trouble sleeping. Can you tell us about Europe? And what could I say? Mission accomplished. Yeah, anyway, I don't really have a Venice story. I was just kidding with you guys. But if you get a chance to go to Venice, you should. It is so beautiful. The postcards does absolutely no justice for Venice. Venice, every place you turn, there's another stunning, beautiful, almost like otherworldly photo of a time gone by. By the way, that's William of Orange. But yeah, so do go to Venice. My goodness, there's still 700 people in here. Who shops at Aldi's? Does anybody shop at Aldi's? I'll tell you a quick Aldi story. So there's two Aldis, right? There's Aldi's North and there's Aldi's South. And when the founder of Aldi's died, the two brothers actually inherited the business. And so when you go to Germany, if you go to like Bavaria or in the South, you'll find that the Aldi's there is the same Aldi's that we have in the United States. But if you go to the northern part, like I want to say Berlin and such, you'll find that there's the Aldi's North. Their logos are darker, but they still use the name Aldi's. Well, the two Aldi's actually own Aldi's. Actually, Aldi's South owns the Aldi's in the US, and the Aldi's North, they own Trader Joe's. So if you shop at Trader Joe's, you're not shopping at the same Aldi's, but you're shopping at the other Aldi's. Is this interesting to anyone? Because I still see over 690 people in the live chat. Is anybody finding this interesting? What's that? You want to hear about Japan? Well, before the pandemic, Japan was the absolute last place I visited. You know what, Mo Shannon, please do not make me drop a F-bomb because I will do it. Um, what was that? You made me forget my long, overdrawn out, overblown, unnecessary story now. I think I was talking about Japan. Um, did I tell you guys that I slept in one of those what do you call those things? Um, one of those pod hotels in let me see. Oh, by the way, did I tell you guys that this was Thomas Markle Sr.'s um father? Now I can't prove it, but I think that Otis from the Andy Griffith Show, I think that that is actually Thomas Sr.'s father. I don't have any proof. I know, I don't have any proof, but I believe, rumor has it, it's been implied that allegedly that Otis the wino, you guys heard me mention this before, I know you have, that Otis the wino is actually Thomas Sr.'s father, and that he, along with another member of the cast, actually conceived him as a love child. Yeah. Do you guys remember? Well, it's true. Well, I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying it's a possibility that Otis the wino from the Andy Griffith Show is Thomas Senior's father. I would rather confirm that with a DNA. Yeah, I would rather try to confirm that with a DNA, but I believe that that he is, the spawn of. Well, anyway, and the mother. This is a real shocker. I don't know if you ever heard this before, but that's his mother, Aunt B. So Aunt B and Otis the wino had a love child, and that love child is Thomas Markle. Yeah, Connie, you've heard that before, right? Uh, uh, Thomas Markle's alleged father and alleged mother is Aunt B and Otis the wino. So, I mean, you can see the resemblance, can't you? You can see the resemblance. I mean, it's just as plain. I mean, the disheveled look, that kind of not all together there. All of that screams Aunt B and Otis. I'm going to show you the resemblance. I know y'all don't believe me, but I'm going to show you. I can prove it. Give me just a second here. Okay. Thomas. Okay. Okay. You guys are going to be so sorry because I have evidence here. I have evidence. There. Now, tell me you don't. Oh, wait, that's Otis. Tell me you don't see it. Huh? Otis the wino, Thomas Markle. Otis, Thomas. Otis, Thomas. Okay, you guys, it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes. Let's Ginger Avenger ourselves out of here because at this point I'm just rambling on and nobody's picking up what I'm putting down with Otis the wino. I think you all have turned on me, but that's okay. Won't be the first time. Yeah, I added grifter myself. Okay, so last word of the day. Who wants the last word? Let me see. Otis did not do a good job with him. Terrible human being. Well, thank you. At least somebody thought it was humorous. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Baron. Bring on Ginger Avenger. All right, let's do it. But I was kind of looking for like a final word. Somebody. Anybody? Okay, that's it. Okay, Lucy Highland says bye-bye. Not exactly what I was looking for, but okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, the Ginger Avenger. Hello, Ivy here. Y'all don't forget Ivy just uploaded a video a little while ago, so make sure y'all go watch it. Okay, love you guys. Bye. Hello, Ivy here.